The 20th of July, 1944. Just a few hours after German military officers attempted to assassinate Adolf Hitler at the Wolf's Lair, his East Prussian headquarters at Rastenburg, the Führer keeps his appointments, including a meeting with Italy's fascist leader, Benito Mussolini. The plot was the culmination of efforts by several groups in the German resistance who hoped that Hitler's violent death would signal an anti-Nazi revolt and lead to the overthrow of the Nazi German government. Yet, this effort must be seen as an attempt to regain control of the war effort before Germany is destroyed, rather than as an attempt to halt the Holocaust, in which some of the conspirators themselves, having murdered not only Jews but also people with disabilities, Roma people, Eastern European civilians, as well as prisoners of war, are deeply implicated. One such conspirator is the head of Nazi Germany's criminal police, Arthur Nebe. Arthur Nebe, the son of a schoolteacher, was born on the 13th of November 1894 in Berlin, then part of the German Empire. In his youth, he studied Hebrew and was supposed to become a theologian, but after completing his high school diploma in 1914, he volunteered for military service. During the First World War, which lasted from the 28th of July 1914 to the 11th of November 1918, Nebe was wounded twice and was discharged as a lieutenant in March 1920. In April of the same year, he was accepted into the Berlin Detective Force of the Criminal Police, or Kripo. In 1923, Nebe attained the rank of police inspector, and the following year he became a police commissioner. In July 1931, Nebe became a member of the Nazi Party. By November of the same year, he joined the SA, or the Sturmabteilung, the Nazi paramilitary force also known as the Stormtroopers, or the brown shirts, for the color of their uniform. On the 30th of January 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany by President Paul von Hindenburg. In 1935, Nebe was appointed head of the Prussian criminal police, and by July 1936, he was in charge of the criminal police for all of Germany. In December 1936, Nebe was transferred from the SA to the SS with the rank of SS Sturmbannführer, which was equivalent to major. In 1939, as head of Kripo, Nebe was involved in discussions about the upcoming campaigns against the Sinti and Roma people. He proposed sending Berlin's Sinti and Roma people to the planned reservations for Jews and others in the East. The Second World War began on the 1st of September 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. Later that month, Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, ordered the creation of the Reich Security Main Office, which encompassed the intelligence service, security services, secret state, and criminal police. The organization was divided into several main departments, including the Kripo, whose main mission was to exterminate criminality. Under Nebe's leadership, tens of thousands, including the homeless, gypsies, drunks, and homosexuals, were put in preventive custody, as they were, according to Nazi theory, suspected of having criminal leanings. In October 1939, Nebe ordered Adolf Eichmann, one of the key organizers of the Holocaust, to include Sinti and Roma people with Jews on the transports to occupied Poland. This was part of the Nisko Plan, an operation to deport Jews to the Lublin district of the general government, which was located in German-occupied Poland. The following month, Nebe interrogated Georg Elser after his failed assassination attempt on Hitler. On the 8th of November 1939, Georg Elser planted a time bomb in the Burger Braukeller, a large beer hall in Munich where Hitler was giving a speech. The location was historically significant as the site of annual Nazi commemorations of the 1923 beer hall putsch. However, the bomb exploded minutes after Hitler had left the venue, narrowly missing its target. Elser was arrested while attempting to cross the Swiss border and subsequently detained. Following the interrogation, Nebe concluded that Elser was telling the truth when he claimed he was working alone. Elser was held as a prisoner for more than 5 years, until he was executed at Dachau concentration camp less than a month before the surrender of Nazi Germany. On Sunday, the 22nd of June, 1941, under the codename Operation Barbarossa, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. 3 million German soldiers, reinforced by Finnish, Romanian, Hungarian, Italian, Slovak, and Croatian troops, participated in the invasion. Within weeks, German divisions had conquered the Baltic republics of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Just before the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the Einsatzgruppen, which were Nazi mobile death squads that had operated in Poland, were reformed under the command of Reinhard Heydrich, the head of the Reich Security Main Office. Arthur Nebe volunteered to lead Einsatzgruppe B, an SS death squad in the Army Group Center rear area in today's Belarus. Their task was to exterminate Jews and other undesirables, including communists, Roma and Sinti people, Asiatics, the disabled, and psychiatric hospital patients in the conquered territories. The Einsatzgruppe also executed hostages and prisoners of war handed over by the German army. Around the 5th of July 1941, Nebe consolidated his Einsatzgruppe B near Minsk, establishing a headquarters and remaining there for 2 months. The murders progressed apace, and in a 13 July operational situation report, Nebe stated that 1,050 Jews had been killed in Minsk, also noting that the liquidation of the Jews was underway in Vilna, where 500 Jews were shot daily. In the 23 July report, however, Nebe advanced the idea of a solution to the Jewish problem being impractical in his assigned area of operation due to the overwhelming number of Jews, explaining that there were too many Jews to be killed by too few men. In August 1941, after a visit to Minsk, Heinrich Himmler, concerned about the mental health of the SS men, decided to find alternative methods to mass shootings. He turned to Arthur Nebe to devise a more convenient method of killing that would spare the executioners from their gruesome tasks. Inspired by an incident where he nearly died from carbon monoxide poisoning, Nebe experimented with killing Soviet psychiatric patients, first using explosives near Minsk, which proved ineffective, and then using automobile exhaust at Mogilev, located in eastern Belarus. To conduct these experiments, SS chemist Albert Wittmann was brought to Minsk with explosives and exhaust hoses. The first experiment with explosives failed to kill all the patients, necessitating a second, more deadly explosion. The second experiment involved venting vehicle exhaust into a sealed room, which successfully killed the patients within 15 minutes. Concluding that gassing was more practical than explosives, Nebe proposed remodeling vehicles with sealed cabins to channel exhaust fumes inside, an idea that Reinhard Heydrich approved. These experiments paved the way for the development of gas vans used in the Holocaust. Under Arthur Nebe's command, Einsatzgruppe B conducted public hangings to instill terror among the local population. In a report dated the 9th of October 1941, Nebe stated that due to the suspected partisan activity near Demidov, located in western Russia, all male residents aged 15 to 55 were detained in a camp for screening. 17 individuals were identified as partisans and communists. 5 of these were hanged in front of 400 assembled local residents, while the others were shot. On the 9th of November 1941, Nebe obtained the rank of SS Gruppenführer, which was equivalent to Lieutenant General, and 5 days later on the 14th of November, Einsatzgruppe B reported the killing of more than 45,000 people. After this, Nebe returned to Berlin to resume his duties as head of the Kripo. In May 1942, after Reinhard Heydrich was assassinated in Prague by Czechoslovak paratroopers Josef Gabčík and Jan Kubiš, Nebe took on an additional role. He became president of the International Criminal Police Commission, now known as the Interpol, in June 1942. After the annexation of Austria into Nazi Germany in March 1938, the organization had fallen under Nazi control and was headed by Heydrich until his death. Nebe served in this capacity until June 1943, when he was replaced by Ernst Kaltenbrunner. Nebe's involvement in Nazi war crimes continued, even as it became clear that Germany was losing the war. At the end of March 1944, 76 British soldiers and officers escaped from the German prisoner of war camp, Stalag Luft III. However, all but 3 were soon recaptured. Hitler issued a secret order to have 50 of them executed. Arthur Nebe participated in this war crime by having his subordinates conduct the selection. In April of the same year, the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, shot the selected prisoners, supposedly while trying to escape. Following this, in June 1944, Nebe supported human experiments aimed at making seawater potable. He suggested selecting so-called asocial Romani mixed-race persons from the Auschwitz gypsy camp for these experiments. On the 6th of June 1944, under the codename Operation Overlord, US, British, and Canadian troops landed on the beaches of Normandy in France. After the German conquest of France in 1940, the opening of a second front in Western Europe had been a major aim of the Allied strategy during World War II. At this time, many German military officers shared two basic convictions: that Germany was being led to disaster, and that Hitler's removal from power was necessary. On the 20th of July 1944, Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg placed one of two bombs in a briefcase under the table in Hitler's briefing room in the Wolf's Lair. However, he was unable to arm the second bomb in time, and after Stauffenberg left the room, the briefcase was coincidentally moved under the heavy support of the table leg. It detonated, but failed to kill Hitler. This was not, however, immediately known to the conspirators. An ally at Hitler's headquarters cut off all communication as Stauffenberg returned to Berlin to coordinate the implementation of the plan, codenamed Operation Valkyrie. At first, the plan seemed to go smoothly, as the reserve army began to take action, but delays, confusion, and poor communication robbed the coup of its initiative. Eventually, the fact of Hitler's survival was broadcasted, and the plot quickly unraveled. In the days that followed, Hitler ordered a massive hunt for conspirators, which continued for months. Nebe, who was supposed to lead a team of 12 policemen to kill Himmler, fled and went into hiding. To capture him, such announcements were published in various newspapers, and an unusually high reward of 50,000 Reichsmarks, an equivalent of about 350,000 United States dollars today, was offered. This was followed by months of wandering and hiding under various addresses, aided by his numerous female acquaintances. Nebe even faked his suicide twice to end the search for him. In January 1945, however, a friend working in the women's criminal police with whom he was staying betrayed him during a Gestapo interrogation. Nebe was brought before the People's Court, presided over by the fanatical judge Roland Freisler, and sentenced to death on the 2nd of March. After the failed assassination attempt, Hitler had ordered that those found guilty should be hanged like cattle. Arthur Nebe was 50 years old when on the 21st of March 1945, he was executed in Berlin at Plötzensee Prison. He was hanged with a meat hook and a thin hemp rope, which the people who were not from the prison staff called a piano wire. In some cases, this barbaric method of execution caused the death struggle to last for 20 minutes. After the war, surviving members of the 20 July plot portrayed Nebe as a professional policeman and a dedicated anti-Nazi. However, these portrayals have since been discredited by historians who described him as an opportunist and a mass murderer driven mainly by racism and careerism. There were no tears shed for Arthur Nebe.
Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.